So we have had some very strong policies around electronic manufacturing for quite some time now. And the most recent one is the production-linked incentive scheme. As part of the production-linked incentive scheme, companies which are champion companies, which are already having a huge manufacturing footprint, or they enjoy a large share of global manufacturing, they are encouraged to either come to the country or expand their manufacturing in the country. And with the promise that they will be given incentives which are linked to production value. So suppose a company is doing, say, $1 billion worth of manufacturing, 6% of that, which is 60 million of the production value, will be given back as cash back to the company. And such kind of scheme, it will be there for 5 years. So for the 5 years that of manufacturing, incentive will be available ranging from 6% to 4% on the output value. This scheme has been made available for the products, that is, say, mobile phones and IT hardware, that is servers, laptops, tablets, but also for electronic components and semiconductors. So we've already seen Taiwanese EMS companies, the likes of Foxconn, Wistron, Pegatron, becoming a part of the scheme for the mobile phones as well as for IT hardware, but also the component manufacturing companies, whether it is the PSA group and its associate companies, and even companies like Foxlinks and others, which we've been calling and which are expanding, which are also again a part of the PLI scheme. We are very much welcoming investments in semiconductor space also. Our electronics market today is around 80 billion US dollars. It has grown despite COVID also. We have been growing almost for last 5 years at 23% cumulative average growth rate. So it is a huge year-on-year growth that we have been experiencing. And once we are, in fact, Taiwanese companies were among the first ones to show how to adapt to the new normal in COVID era by arranging their manufacturing facilities, ensuring social distance and all of them are back to their full manufacturing now. So even during the second wave also, the Taiwanese companies were able to by and large do manufacturing at huge scale. In the post-COVID world, or even during the COVID world also, we are looking at growing below, much above the present rate of growth and reaching between 30 to 40%. And companies under PLI have promised production worth almost 130 billion US dollars in next 5 years. And we are going to have huge subsequent rounds of PLI also. We very much welcome companies, whether it is a UMC or a TSMC, which is usually aspirational, but even compound semiconductor space also. Companies like Winbond, these kind of companies also to come and manufacture in the country. Similarly, the companies which are in the semiconductor packaging space also, for them, the PLI is available. So we are looking at becoming, our mobile manufacturing is expected to go from present $33 billion to almost $150 billion in next 6 years. Similarly, IT hardware is going to grow from $2 billion to 40 billion US dollars, because we again have the likes of product companies also such as HP, Dell, Acer, Asus. These also have committed huge production in the country, not just for Indian market, but making in India for the entire world. So we are hopeful that with this kind of product ecosystem, I'm sure that the design ecosystem and the fab ecosystem is also going to come to country, and we very much welcome those investments. So while we look at making India the global electronic hub, electronic manufacturing hub, we consider companies not just as investors, but as partners in this entire ecosystem. And that is where we are very keen to have companies from all geographies, and especially Taiwan, to come and become a part of the Make in India story and manufacture for the entire world. While my fellow colleagues on the panel have spoken about the emphasis that is being laid on design-led manufacturing, having more design houses, and the fact that India enjoys tremendous talent pool also for doing the designs for the entire world, but for manufacturing also, and setting up for a company which is coming to India and interested in finding land, ensuring that they have ready-built factory sheds available. We have electronic manufacturing clusters. There are 20 such clusters across the country, where almost ranging from 200 to 500 acres of land and different clusters is available. Already 3 different clusters from Taiwan have taken great shape. There's one cluster in the greater Noida area, which is in the northern part of the country, in the state of Uttar Pradesh. There is one in Karnataka, in Bangalore, which is our Silicon Valley, which is where we have in Devanhalli and Hosur, we have the likes of Wistron, and Delta and so on and so forth. Similarly, there is one cluster which is coming, which has come up in the southern part of in Tamil Nadu, in Sriperumbudur, where we have, and Tirupati. In fact, these two areas, which are 50 kilometers from each other, in states of Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, where we have Pegatron, we have Foxconn, we have all their associated companies also. The PSA group is also there. So all these companies have been able to find great hand-holding support, not just from Government of India, but from state governments also, which are now competing with each other. Today, if a company from Taiwan lands in Delhi or in Chennai, there are people who are going to receive them, and for each each company, we are going to have specific hand-holding support. There are, for example, special institutions. There is Invest India in Government of India, which has a Taiwan desk, which is a nodal agency for promoting investments in the country. Then we have Guidance Tamil Nadu as a separate agency in Tamil Nadu. There is a Invest AP, Economic Development Board AP, Invest Karnataka. So there are these agencies which are everywhere. We are offering very competitive land rates. For example, today our land either on purchase or on lease, long-term lease for 33 years, 50 years is available at very competitive rates. Our power rates also are quite competitive. In dollar terms, it is actually around 8 to 10 cents per unit, so which is hugely competitive, and the quality of power is also great. Similarly, we have taken measures around ease of doing business in terms of the single one nation, one tax. So wherever you are putting your company across India, there is a one goods and services tax, which is uniform. So 35 different taxes across states were put together to bring a uniform GST. Similarly, every company actually can become a SEZ. You can take the facility of a custom bonded warehouse, so that every company which applies for that and gets it, they can enjoy duty-free import of capital goods, duty-free import of raw materials, as long as they are for export purposes. Similarly, there are enablements around if you are importing second and refurbished plant and material also. If they have a residual life of 5 years, they are allowed to be imported. So, and then in terms of resolving insolvencies also and settling disputes also, there's a robust system in place. So all of this put together, what I am pointing to is that for companies in niche areas also, in semiconductor fabrication, in packaging, in IoT devices, we have huge market. For example, we have a smart city project. So where there's deployment of lots of sensors and IoT devices happening in the country, in 100 smart cities. And preference is given to those companies which are making it in India. So all of this is contributing to a hugely enabling environment, and we would welcome all the companies to look at India very seriously. Please get in touch with us. I will share my email ID, the ones from the Invest India also, and we look forward to partnering with each of you. One last thing from my side, like Ritu Parna ji talked about, or before that, Mr. Rajiv Kushu talked about presence of TI, of MeitY, of design in India, and the chips which are coming. My request is, today there is growing appetite of Indian champions also, Indian mobile companies, Indian IT companies, they are hungry for chipsets. So more and more allocation should happen to Indian companies also. While we take it at different fora, we are looking at some kind of shortage of semiconductor chips, largely in logic segments and in the emerging technologies in AI, IoT based applications, and some part of it in power and the logic part also. We would request, for example, company like MediaTek, we would want MediaTek operations not just from design part, but also from the chip usage part for Indian companies to increase. Similarly for TI and so on and so forth. And we welcome them to allocate chipsets for Indian markets and for Indian manufacturers also. Thank you.